Hello, boys and girls. We're now at lesson 14, congruent shapes. What is congruent? Congruent means exactly the same in every respect. That means matching sides, angles are equal. This means that the shape and size are exactly the same. You may have to turn or flip a shape just so long as the shapes are exactly the same. We say they are congruent. Now these shapes are facing the same directions, but we can see that they are congruent. They look identical. These two look identical. If you look at your everyday situation, like bricks on a wall, the bricks are congruent. Or your window panes in school or at home, the windows will be identical. Now, in patterns are created by stencils, patterns for cloth that you create garments out of or clothes out of. Those patterns are used, and because it's made from a stencil, you find the patterns are identical. So one can be placed on top of the other. They will match exactly. In life, you also have fencing that may have identical patterns. Leaves may be identical. Not all leaves. There are leaves that will be identical. Now for application, you're going to list the congruent shapes. So in any group here, there are two shapes that are congruent. The shapes are labeled as A, B, C, or D. So you're going to list whether A is congruent to B, or you may say B is congruent to C, you may say A is congruent to C. So you'll simply write down the two letters of shapes that you think are congruent. Now if you look at an example, there's three triangles I have here. Now which of these three triangles are identical? And we need to consider which triangles are identical. If you look at it, they are placed differently. So does that mean that it is identical? So to check if a triangle is identical, we need to also be able to, let's change the color of this triangle. Okay, we have a green, blue, and yellow. So which two triangles are identical? Now, this to me looks longer than this triangle. So I don't think it will fit exactly. We can try to place this triangle exactly onto the other triangle. It was actually going to block B. Sorry, block the blue triangle. And if you place the blue on the green, you'll see the blue is smaller than the green. So this is not identical or congruent. So let's try this triangle. Now you find that this triangle here does not seem to fit. But let's turn it around, rotate your shape. And let's try now. And you can see that this triangle fits on the blue. Although the triangle was rotated, these two triangles are still congruent. So congruent shapes may not be placed on the same. You need to see if the shape can be moved around, turned around, and if they will fit exactly on each other. When they fit exactly on each other, then they are congruent. So you need to check which shapes will fit exactly on each other. Similarly with 1.2, you'll see which two triangles are congruent. All of these examples. Now for question 2, we'll write down whether the pair of shapes are congruent or not. So you will state for 2.1 congruent, or if you think they're not congruent, you'll say not congruent. Here, to give an example, the sides are marked equal, which means these two sides are identical to this. And you also have an angle that's marked equal. So you need to consider if these two triangles will fit on each other. So in your mind, you can visually rotate and place and check. Similarly here, you need to see the triangles are congruent. So you're simply going to state for question 2, congruent, or you're going to state not congruent. Okay, boys and girls, you can complete your application.